Do you know that Lotus is changing its usual image by releasing its first electric car and SUV? With a surprising weight of 5,555 pounds, the Eletre challenges the idea of what a Lotus car should be. It also features a LIDAR sensor, an advanced infotainment system, and more. How thrilling is that? In this video, we'll take a closer look at the Lotus Eletre and talk about all of its revolutionary features. We'll also discuss what it means for the future of Lotus. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this exciting look at the future of electric SUVs. When we are talking about Lotus, you've got to keep in mind, it's a brand that's always been all about lightness, simplicity, and the pure joy of driving. This DNA can be traced in every single car they've made, even the recent Emira Coupe. But this new Eletre? It's a whole different ballgame. It's a high-tech SUV that can carry up to 5 passengers in luxury, is longer than a Ford Explorer, and weighs as much as a fully loaded F-150. It isn't raw in any sense, and it's not simplistic. The design gets quite a few heads turning. The split front grille, these split headlamps, the raised midsection, and the sweeping tail. It's quite a lot to take in. And in a market that's already jam-packed with SUVs, the Eletre does draw some comparisons with other familiar rides. However, when you see it up close and personal, it's way more than just a, hey, that looks like a such and such kind of vehicle. Yeah, some parts might seem borrowed, especially those ambiguous headlamps. But it also boasts some original details like the vented hood and the creased door surfaces that give a nod to its cousin, the Emira. It also got this unique station wagon-like rear and a concave tail that's highlighted with this continuous LED light strip that's straight out of the Bugatti Chiron playbook. The specifications of this big crossover have a significant impact on its appearance. When it comes to the color options, the launch color, Kaimu Gray, doesn't really make it stand out. It looks rather ordinary. However, when you see it in the shades like Galloway Green or Solar Yellow, it taps into the brand's heritage in a fantastic way. Dressed in more vibrant colors, the Eletre manages to appear more agile and nimble than its actual size suggests. Speaking of size, this SUV is not lightweight. Measuring in at around 16.7 feet long and 7 feet wide, the Eletre is far from being a petite little thing. In fact, it's 6.8 inches longer than a Cayenne, 5.1 inches longer than a Purosangue, and 2.5 inches larger than a DBX. It's just a tad shorter than the Urus, but it makes up for it by being 2 inches wider. So it's definitely got some presence on the road. Once you step inside the Eletre, you'll notice that it offers a spacious feel with decent legroom, shoulder room, and headroom. The forward visibility is great, but the view from the rear quarter can be a bit iffy. However, in some countries, they've got a clever solution for that. They use electronic side view mirrors that display the feed on 6-inch screens embedded in the doors. You can even fine-tune the view by tapping the driver's side screen and dragging the image. It not only looks sleek compared to the bulky optical mirrors required by the DOT, but also reduces aerodynamic drag by 1.5%. Unfortunately, it's uncertain when this digital technology will be approved for use on US roads. To minimize the amount of air that the car displaces, the Eletre incorporates a lot of what aerodynamicists call porosity. This means they've designed elements that allow air to pass through the bodywork rather than over it. For instance, there's a clever active aero panel up front consisting of 6 triangular panels in the lower grille that open and close depending on cooling needs. You'll also find pass-through grilles, arches on the bonnet, wheel arches, and even C and D pillar arches that allow visible airflow through the vehicle, reducing resistance. Thanks to these design choices, the Eletre achieves an impressive drag coefficient of 0.26, considering its substantial size. Adding to the aerodynamic efforts is an active rear spoiler that can generate up to 247 pounds of downforce at top speed. With all these aerodynamic features, the Eletre manages to achieve impressive WLTP range figures of 373 miles on the base and S models and 304 miles on the more aggressive R version. However, we are still waiting for the official EPA range figures, which tend to be more realistic, but often lower than the initial estimates. All 3 versions of the Eletre, base, S, and R, come equipped with a powerful 112 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery operating on an 800-volt architecture. The entry-level and mid-range models deliver 603 horsepower and 524 pound-feet of torque, with power sent through single-speed transmissions at each axle. On the other hand, The top-of-the-line R version takes things up a notch with a whopping 905 horsepower and 726 foot-pounds of torque. It also features a 2-speed transmission at the rear axle, while the front axle remains single-speed. According to claims, the Eletre can go from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 4.5 seconds, while the R version can do it in a blistering 2.95 seconds. Interestingly, the 2-speed transmission only provides a modest 5-mile-per-hour increase in top speed, bringing it up to 165 miles per hour. When you step inside the Eletre S and close the door, you'll encounter even more firsts for Lotus. It includes dual-paned window glass, which helps with insulation and reducing noise, and a fancy soft close feature that gently but firmly seals the door shut. The cabin continues to break away from the traditional Lotus style, embracing a level of luxury and refinement never seen before. The dashboard is a sleek and modern piece of art with a narrow instrument panel that displays crucial information. Taking center stage is a large 15.1-inch OLED touchscreen that controls the majority of settings and functions. While the physical switches present are nicely finished with anodized and knurled textures, there aren't quite enough of them to avoid some frustration when performing basic tasks. For example, adjusting the climate control temperatures can be done with paddle shifters, but changing the fan settings requires navigating through the touchscreen menu, which can be quite annoying. Once you toggle the R&D gear selector and set off in the Eletre, you'll notice that it moves forward with a calm and confident demeanor. It offers 5 different drive modes to choose from, and with the R model, there's even a 6th mode called Track. Surprisingly, the throttle response feels quite mild, even when you push the pedal down hard. It seems like the bulk of the power doesn't fully kick in until you've gained some momentum, around 40 miles per hour or so. On the left paddle, you can control the brake regen settings, with the top half increasing regen and the lower half reducing it. The right paddle, on the other hand, allows you to switch between drive modes. In the track setting, particularly with the R model equipped with standard Pirelli P0 tires, you'll experience even more potent acceleration. The 2-pedal launch sequence effortlessly unleashes a substantial amount of power, holding the vehicle in place until you lift off the brake pedal and the Eletre surges forward with a fierce determination. However, beyond those controlled situations, there's a surprising level of approachability to the driving dynamics of this electric crossover. The feedback from Lotus's first ever electromechanical steering setup is accurate and precise, although it may not be as intensely communicative as what we've come to expect from the brand. The brake pedal offers good control, but it doesn't have the transcendent feel of a proper sports car setup. During hard launches from a standstill to around 100 miles per hour, the R model exhibits significantly more thrust than the S model, with a noticeable but not overly firm gear shift between first and second gears at around 80 miles per hour. The test vehicle we had was equipped with the optional 48-volt suspension, which utilizes electromechanical actuators to quickly calculate torque reactions in just 2 milliseconds. These movements counteract cornering forces by adjusting the levels of roll stiffness, stiffening when needed, or disconnecting the roll bars entirely for an exceptionally smooth ride. Taking all factors into consideration, the suspension of the Eletre manages to strike a good balance between compliance and control, effectively taming the potential sloppiness of a 5,555-pound SUV. Testing the R model on a slalom course reveals commendable body control and smooth transitional behavior that pushed at around 8/10. However, there's the noticeable understeer when aggressively approaching turn-in points. In sport mode, the Eletre feels heavy, especially during abrupt direction changes. Lotus only authorized slalom course runs in sport mode, not track mode's less stringent intervention settings. Why Lotus would hold back if the Eletre is a driver-focused vehicle is unclear. Lotus has always manufactured a limited number of vehicles per year at its Heathel factory. Thus, the Eletre is a major step toward reintroducing the brand as a worldwide luxury competitor to Germany, Italy, and the US. However, the final verdict should be withheld until the arrival of Lotus's first affordable 2-seat EV vehicle, which will follow the $2 million Evija EV hypercar. While some may find its weight and deviations from simplicity concerning, there's no denying the Eletre's impressive features and potential impact on the future of Lotus. What are your thoughts on Lotus venturing into the electric car and SUV market? Do you think it's a smart move for the brand? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more exciting updates.